Problem with cheap. Cheap as in low price. The problem I found nowadays is low price doesn't mean low quality anymore. And that's very unfortunate because we always used to have a judge. Higher price, even though you're paying more for it, you're paying for quality. And that unfortunately is no longer true, as I've realized recently when buying new glasses. See, these lenses are high index. They were really fancy when I was a kid growing up, much more expensive, and the doctor wouldn't let us have it because they're not made from polycarbonate and they may break because they're real glass and hit us in the eye with a shard when the ball hits the glasses, blah, blah, blah. But now that I'm an adult, I could buy them. 1.5 is the standard, 1.67, 1.74, just keeps on going up. And it's better. I agree. And guess what? It's cheap, pretty standard, not hard to get anymore. See, recently when I was shopping for glasses, I was wondering if it's cheaper in Vietnam versus the US, because all these shops have popped up in the US that are online. And they sell glasses much cheaper than going to the optometrist, even going to a place like Costco. It's easily $200 for me to get a frame and glasses. The frames are much cheaper in Vietnam, and I think because frames are just overpriced as pieces of plastic or metal. You pay for design, supposedly, and the name brand. But the main thing is the lenses. Glass is important, right? I want high quality things for looking at the world, right? That influences how I see the world. So I started comparing prices of here versus there. Here we went to this luxury place, luxury optical boutique. And it's more expensive. Should I have shopped around? I don't know. But they had a price listed right then and there. It's about 70, 80 bucks. I could get it from a Japanese chain. There's a lot of Japanese eyeglasses chain. Jins is one you might have heard of. Owndays is here in Asia. Jins is now there in America as well. But I presume they'd be cheaper because they have quantity of scale, right? Economics. And then there's all these new places that are popping up online, and maybe they're cheaper because they're sort of supported by venture capitalist funds. Sort of like how Uber, all those things are supported by money from stocks and other capital because they actually subsidize your rides. Or not Uber, the ride sharing service itself nowadays, but delivery services. And the thing is, when I took a look, I found that actually, it's interesting, places online could be cheaper or could be more expensive, but it really doesn't correlate with the quality of the lens they make for you, which is really interesting. You look at these reviews or newspapers that have actually investigated, and they actually talk to real optometrists, opticians, and they say, hey, these guys, these online mail order shops, they're not inferior in terms of glass quality. Isn't that a shock? I remember when I was in high school and, tech stuff was relatively new. You look for deals in the weekly ads in the paper. CompUSA is still around. Fry's Electronics for those of us in California. And my friend would go there and he's like, Sony name brand good enough for me. He's not going to waste time figuring out what it is, right? Because Lite-On is obviously a not name brand, but it's an OEM and manufacturer companies like Sony. So you could buy a Lite-On for the same price as you get like half a Sony for, and it's just as good. And same thing, literally. But he doesn't want to worry about that, so just name brand, he'll be satisfied. But nowadays, as we hear more and more about name brand things, we figure out that they have issues. They may not source from the best quality bidder, but rather the lowest price bidder. It used to be easy. You don't need much information, you just look at the price, high quality, right? But now with the proliferation of all these random shops on eBay, Amazon, selling direct from the manufacturer in China, I mean, they're manufactured in China anyways. Just Sony puts your label on it. Does it really make much of a difference? Does Sony really have good quality control? I'm using a microphone right now that's highly reviewed and is, guess how much money? 20 bucks. These lapel mics of these go for 100. This one's branded by Sony, but this said it'd be really good and it's served me thus far. But it really gives us conundrum nowadays with more information, with more choices. Because it's really difficult to figure out what is the best. What is good value? More expensive lens means higher quality glass. A real glass grinder person? It's all made by machine anyways, right? I don't know what to say. I end up going with the person here in Vietnam just because there's that comfort aspect of not ordering online, having someone physically there measure your pupillary distance and all those other factors. I want to give them some business anyways. But quality? Unfortunately, it's no longer true. Quality is quality. And it seems they really have no correlation, inverse or not, with cost, price, cheapness.